Hey witches, welcome to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy, a magical living podcast for the busy witch. I'm Morgan, eclectic witch of almost 25 years, Avalon priestess, and busy witch. Here we'll talk all things witchy, from current metaphysical happenings to my busy witch tips and tricks, and everything in the in-between. This podcast is my personal journey, filled with my knowledge, opinions, and unique way of looking at the world. Join me as I weave the magical and the mundane in every episode. Hey witches, welcome back to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy. I'm Morgan, and today I am talking about candle magic. This is a great beginner practice, but it is probably a staple for advanced witches too. I know it is for me, definitely, which is why I'm really excited to share this information with you all today. Candle magic can be as simple as charging a candle with your intention and that's it. Or it can be as complex as making your own candles with specific intentions. So today what I'm going to do is we're going to go on a short stroll down candle magic lane with some info and my tips on candle magic. This is not by any means going to be a comprehensive podcast on all candle magic practices, but I think even if you are a seasoned witch, you'll find some information, some helpful information in this. But if you're a beginner witch, you'll definitely be able to journal and write down a lot of stuff. All right. So first of all, why practice candle magic? I have a very fun way of looking at this, and that is candles contain all 5 elements in one vessel. And I will explain. You have earth in the wax and the wick. A lot of wicks are either cotton or wood, and wax itself comes from the earth. So therefore you have the earth element. You have air because scent resonates with the element of air. And even if you're using like a mini candle that's scentless, you can't burn a candle without air. And also if you're blowing out a candle, or once the candle extinguishes, smoke is also associated with the element of air. For fire, of course, you have the candle flame. For the element of water, you have to think of it like a liquid. So when you're making candles, the wax has to be heated up to a certain point where it turns into a liquid. And then as it burns, it returns back to that liquid state and either drips down the side, or it actually turns into the element of air. The candle wax just kind of disappears while the candle's burning if you have a nice clean burn. So either way, you're returning a solid into a liquid, and that can represent the element of water. And then for the element of spirit, we're witches. When we're burning candles and when we're practicing candle magic, we are infusing those candles with our intention to be released into the world. So candles have all 5 elements, which makes them perfect for busy witch magic, especially if you have tea lights or mini candles on hand. You can do an entire spell just with a candle. You could do an entire spell just with yourself. I mean, let's go ahead and throw that out there. But if you could only have one tool that you used on a regular basis, I would highly recommend candles. So for me, candle magic is my absolute go-to. I started out as a beginner witch with just choosing candle colors or, charging a candle with my intention, and that's it. And even though now I own a business where our candles are made, that is actually the one hobby that I promised my husband probably, I would say maybe 22 years ago that I would never do. Yeah, somewhere around 20 to 22 years ago, I was diving into every single hobby known to man, like creative hobbies, scrapbooking, stamping, sewing. I tried for a while, and I went to try candle making, and he said, please, for the love of our kitchen, because when I craft, you guys, I craft everywhere. I get it all over the place. And it does paint, glitter, paper, glue, everywhere. I get it everywhere. So he said, please, for the love of God, don't make candles. You will have wax on the ceiling. And I'm like, all right, fine. So that is the one promise I made him, and I have held true to it for 20 some years of our marriage. But what I did because I like loopholes, is I found a local candle maker, Molly, who I've been working with now for, oh my God, Molly and I've probably been working together over 10 years now. And I took a few blends to her and I said, hey, can I have custom candles made from you? And she was like, yeah, I'll do it. She's like, what do you got? So I started out with love, money, psychic, healing, and protection. Those were the first candles that I had made at Ink Goddess Creations. And now we have, oh my God, probably 50 different types of candle blends. It's crazy. But anytime I want a candle blended for a specific intention, I call Molly up or we have a blending session. And generally speaking, the candles that we make for the boxes, or if we do like the bigger jar candles or special edition candles, it is literally because I wanted a candle in that scent. And I said, well, if I'm going to have Molly make it, I'll have her make a batch and we'll just sell the extras in the store. I kid you not. It's very selfish practice here. So I don't make candles, but that is like the most advanced form of candle magic, is making your own candles. And while I don't make them, I have someone that I work with that makes the candles. When I come up with something, we work together on it, and I love that. All right. So getting to the simplest to the most complex forms, we're going to kind of go right up. We're going to start at the basic and go right on up. All right. Number one, the simplest form of candle magic is holding a candle in your dominant hand and charging it with your intention. Now, this is super easy if you're working with a tea light, a mini candle, a votive, a mini pillar. As you get to like bigger ones, of course, use both hands to charge it with, like 7-day candles. If you have like a massive 3-wick candle, definitely use both hands. Or you can even set the candle down and like put your hands on top of it to charge it. But basically, just to charge a candle, you just think about your intention and the intention for the candle as it burns. Like, this is what you want to have happen as this candle burns. Number two is choosing a coordinating candle color for its intention. And so I'm going to go over the candle colors. These are just basic, okay? Each candle has multiple different uses, or each candle color has many different uses, but I'm going to go over the most popular ones or the main ones. So white is an all-purpose candle. If you don't have the money to spend on multiple colors of candles, okay? Or if you don't have a certain color for a certain spell, but you have white, use white, okay? It's all-purpose. White can also be used for purification, cleansing, removing negative energy, all of that. But white is your all-purpose, okay? Red is good for love and courage. Orange is good for business success. That's the color we use here at Ink Goddess Creations, is orange. And it's also good for motivation and creativity. Yellow is good for intellect, communication, and personal power. Green, of course, is money, but it's also really good for fertility and healing. But I usually associate green with emotional healing. Yeah, so like healing traumatic events and stuff like that. Blue is what I personally use for healing. And I tend to use light blue for healing. Like if I'm trying to do physical healing spells, I tend to use a light blue. But blue is also good for meditation and for peace. Purple is good for spirituality, intuition, psychic abilities, and general overall magic. Black absorbs negative energy and is really great for protection and your banishing spells. Pink is associated with happiness, friendship, and self-love. Brown is good for grounding and if you're doing any kind of work with or for animals, and that can be spiritual animals or physical animals. Gold resonates with the sun and is also good for attraction and justice. And then silver resonates with the moon and is really good for psychic abilities. So those are just some general colors and their corresponding. I mean, like I said, each one of them has so many more uses, but these are like the basic ones. These are the ones that most people use. And some people use different things for, like, I know people that use yellow for creativity as well. Blue can also be for communication because it is associated with the throat chakra. But these are like not only my preferences for colors, but what a lot of witches use them for. So the next one that I realized I didn't write down in my notes would be choosing a color scent, which I guess 2 and 3 could kind of go hand in hand, or you could swap them out. So let's say you are wanting to do a spell for happiness, and you don't have a pink candle, but you have a citrus candle, because citrus is really uplifting, and it's really good for happiness and mood change, like shifting a mood to a more positive state. So scent is another thing. And maybe you can't find, like I said, a pink candle, but you have a citrus, you have like an orange candle, like orange scent, or lemon or lime or something like that. Then choosing a candle for its scent is also another thing you can do. And bonus, if you find a great color scent combination, which tends to happen with witchy stores like ours. But any witch who's making a candle is going to probably be putting as many of these correspondences into it when they are making it. So any type of witchcraft company is going to be doing that, hopefully. I mean, you can hope, right? But yeah, so color and or scent, maybe those can kind of be like interchangeable as number 2. Yeah. And just because I didn't write it down, I'm going to have to just go off the top of my head. So spicy scents like cinnamon, clove, those are going to be good for passion. They're going to be good for motivation. Like if you want to spice up your life a little bit, whatever that means to you, use a spice candle. And let me tell you guys, the reason I can riff this stuff off of the top of my head is, number 1, I've been doing this for 25 years. Number 2, the type of magic I practice is very like magic. I guess it's been called like for like magic, is what I've learned that it is within about the last year or so. So if an object does something in the real world, it will do the same thing in the magical world. So, but that's what I realized. That's the type of magic I use or I practice, and I've practiced my entire life. And so, yeah, if you want to spice up your love life, use a spicy scented candle, Again, citrus is for motivation, mood uplifting. And if you need to chill things out, then lavender, chamomile, ocean breezes tend to work for that as too. But like if you need a cleansing candle, honestly, go get one of those laundry scented ones, because nothing says cleansing and clean like that fresh linen scent that a lot of these commercial candles have. And yes, you can use commercial candles too. You can buy your candles at Walmart, buy them at the Dollar Tree. I don't care. I don't care where you buy your candles. Buy them that fit what you want to do. I am famous for, especially in the fall or anytime I want to connect with Avalon, the Dollar Tree always has apple candles, like apple cinnamon. That is like one of their main scents. And that to me will connect me to Avalon. So if I don't have one of our Avalon candles, which I have Molly make, if I don't have one of those and I really want some kind of scent to connect to Avalon, I'll run to the Dollar Tree and get an apple cinnamon candle. So these are really common scents, but just think like for like. Think if you smell a candle and the first thing that it makes you want to do is like it smells clean, then you can use that candle for cleansing. Cucumber, melon, another great one for cleansing. But like if you smell a candle and it's chocolate chip cookie and it really makes you feel comfortable, then if you're doing a spell for self-love, for comfort, for self-soothing, for emotional healing, and that is what that candle scent does for you, then run with it. Just do the magic is what I'm going to call it. The like for like. And whatever scent a candle, whatever emotions a candle scent can evoke from you, then use it for that intention, because you're already like halfway there, right? All right. So number 3, which is like the hard number 3, because I kind of combined scent and color, is you can carve a word, symbol, etc. into your candle. Definitely do this safely. They actually make things called candle scribes, which are generally just pointy metal sticks, kind of like a very long needle. We have also included candle scribes in past boxes. I'm going to let you all know now because it's been almost a year or maybe over a year. No, it's been over a year since the Candle Magic Ink Goddess Creations box. Those candle scribes that we put in there were actually hair sticks. Yep. I saw them and I didn't think hair stick. I said, oh, that's a candle scribe. And then they were like, no, these are hair sticks. And I'm like, oh, my bad. Well, I'm going to use it as a candle scribe. And that's what we put in the box as candle scribes. We have also back in the day during our animal magic box. Oh my God, we're talking like 2017, 2018. We put porcupine quills. Yeah, I found a supplier of ethically sourced porcupine quills, the big long ones. They were probably like 6 inches. Yep, I use those as a candle scribe as well. I've learned the hard way not to use a pocket knife because I cut myself. But anything, I've used nails before, especially if you're doing, here's another fun tip. And I love doing this because I write notes and then things just pop into my head and that's what I run with. If you are doing a banishing spell, use a nail. It's symbolic. It's like putting the final nail in someone's coffin if you're trying to get them away from you, if you're trying to get them to leave you alone, if you're getting ready to put them into a jar and you want to put their name on a black candle, use a nail to carve it in there. It adds that oomph. But anyway, I've used hair sticks, porcupine quills, needles, like safety pins, nails. We had those little spoons one time with the little pointy crystal on the end of them. I've used the pointy end of the crystal. I've used regular point, like crystal quartz points for scribe. You can use anything pointy, just do it carefully. But you're going to carve a name or a word, like an intention, a symbol, like if you use runes or if you create a sigil for that particular magical working, you can carve any of that into the candle. Then number 4 is you dress the candle with oils. And it is super important if you're going to go on to step 5, which is dressing a candle with herbs, you need the oil to stick the herbs on there. But dressing it with oils, especially if you technically don't have to carve a word or intention or whatever into the candle. You can just skip over that and go straight to oils and dress it with oils. But if you are carving something into the candle, I do recommend quote unquote sealing it with the oil. And that's how you seal the sigil or the symbol into the candle and make them become one even more. And then, number 5 is dress with herbs. And of course, the last one is making your own candles from scratch or whatever with your intention. But I'm going to make the segue from dressing your candle with herbs over into candle safety because it is an amazing segue if I bring up the candle magic spells that you tend to see on Instagram or TikTok, okay? And it's these candles, the videos are generally posted by people who cast spells on behalf of other people. Like you can pay them to cast spells for you. And they video record and then post it as like reference of, hey, I'm casting your spell, here's the proof. Now, okay. You can tell by my shift. I have opinions about this, okay? Not about casting spells for other people. That's a completely different podcast episode. I have feelings about these videos where they post them, and this candle is clearly dripping in oil, covered with whole herbs, not even powdered herbs, but whole chunky dried herbs. And then they showed the entire top of the candle on fire. And the caption says something like, look at how well this spell is manifesting, or this person's intention is going to manifest immediately. No, that's not what that means. That means you overdressed the candle and now you have a fire hazard on your hands. Okay? I am so sorry to burst y'all's bubble on that, but when you dress a candle in oil and then you add huge whole dried herbs to it, that is a fire hazard, and it has nothing to do with the burning of the candle as far as like, oh, this spell is going to 100% work because look at how the candle's burning. It has no correlation. And please, if you are one of these people that does spells for people and then post this shit on the internet, stop saying that. Your spell is not more effective because the entire top of your candle is on fire. It just means that you added enough flammable shit to your candle to have the entire top of the candle be lit on fire. Okay? Now, is there a thing about the way a candle burns and what you can interpret from it? There is, 100%. Okay? But the minute that you add logical, fire incinerating objects to your candle, you almost remove the metaphysical interpretation of how that candle's burning. You cannot have a lit, basically torch in front of you that's being fueled by dried herbs and say that your candle spell is going to be completely successful because look at how forceful the flame is. No, you cannot do that. So, if you want the huge firecracker, fire hazard, could burn your house down candle, by doing that, you are then relinquishing my candle's burning, so therefore it must be a successful. You have to stop equating the two. Okay? Now, if you just want to light a candle and set it there and you don't have fiery components added to it like dried herbs and oil, and then you want to interpret how the candle's burning to see if your spell's going to be successful, then you can do that, okay? But stop equating the two. And don't get me wrong, they're gorgeous to look at, but every time I see one of these videos on TikTok or Instagram, I immediately have a heart attack because I'm just thinking about them setting their curtains on fire, and I have to scroll past it and I have to keep going. Okay? So there's my little disclaimer. This is my disclaimer, okay? All right. So now we're going to go into candle safety real quick. The first thing, which a lot of people don't know, is before you light a candle, and this is fresh out the box, fresh from the store, or if you have a candle that's been burning for a while, you have to put it out and you have to come back to it. Always trim your wick. Yeah, trim your wick to about 1/4 of an inch tall before burning it each time. Again, this just cuts down on the fire safety of you setting your house on fire, you know? And then number 2, never leave a burning candle unattended, like you never do. And I know that for some practitioners, they work a candle spell for X number of days, and it's believed that you leave the candle burning for X number of days. I am not a believer of that, just because I firmly believe in not burning down my house. So I don't leave a burning candle unattended at all, ever. I have cats too, though. So, I have cats, and when they see a candle, they want to go investigate. So I've just learned over the years, like I will move spells into, like if I know I'm going to be in my living room for the next couple of hours, then I will move a spell from my altar. I will set up a temporary altar, like in my dining room, which is like I have one big dining room, living room type area, just so I can keep an eye on it. So the never leave a burning candle unattended, even I understand like 7-day jar candles are supposed to be burned for 7 days. Especially jar candles can overheat, they can explode. So I just wouldn't leave them. I wouldn't leave them burning for 7 days. I wouldn't leave any candle burning without any type of supervision for an extended period of time, because you're asking to have your house burned down. But that leads me into the question I get asked a lot of, what are my beliefs on snuffing or blowing a candle out and lighting it up later? I am a firm believer that you can do either. I don't subscribe to the belief that blowing a candle out blows your intention out. I don't subscribe to the belief that snuffing your candle and then starting it the next day, like snuffing it when you go to bed at night and starting it the next day is going to fuck up your spell. I don't subscribe to the belief that putting out a candle in any way, shape, or form puts your intention out. I don't believe in it. And I've never believed in it for 25 years. So I love a candle snuffer. I'm not going to lie. It does have to do with the fact that in our candle magic box years ago, we had a candle trimmer and a candle snuffer custom made for the box. So I do use them because I wanted some. And I had them made and put into a box because I wanted some. So I do love a candle snuffer. But I'm famous for blowing a candle out and telling it that I will be back tomorrow morning. Like, I am blowing you out. May the magic continue. I will come back in the morning and relight you to continue the spell. Like, I talk to my candles. All right. So I think you can do whatever. You can lick your 2 fingers, snuff it out with your actual body. You can blow it out. You can use a candle snuffer. I believe it's whatever you feel comfortable doing and whatever you feel like won't affect your magic. So that is what I have for you all today. I chose to do candle magic in today's podcast episode because for the month of July in the Ink Spirit Coven, we are doing candle magic. And I'm going to be diving much deeper with them. We're going to be going into things like flame whispering, wax interpretation when your candle burns. And we're definitely going to be diving down more into basic candle magic all the way to advanced candle magic. And for those of you who have made it this far in the podcast episode, thank you. And if you are not a member, I have something for you. If you're not an Ink Spirit Coven member, you can head to inkedspirit.com. And if you purchase a monthly the monthly membership for the Ink Spirit Coven, use the coupon code podcast5, and that's all together, and it'll give you $5 off your first month. So if you are an avid listener to my podcast and I get to this little pitch point at the end and you're like, I want to join so bad, but you don't, there's just something holding you back. Maybe there you go. There's a coupon code for you. It'll give you the first month for only $25 instead of $30. After that, it will renew for $30. But that way you can join us at least for the month for Candle Magic, although we're going to be moving even further into the element of fire after July. We're going to be going into the untamed witchcraft, which is that spicy stuff. And then we're going to be having a huge fire releasing ritual. It is a virtual ritual on Zoom, but that's going to be for August. And then in September, we move into the element of water. So we're going to be doing some healing, some flow, some oil making. There's just tons of stuff coming up, but there's a coupon code for you as my way of saying thank you for listening. And I would love to have you join the coven. I seriously would. So I want to thank you all for giving me a platform to share my knowledge, to go off about shit I see on TikTok and Instagram, but in a relevant way to witchcraft and to your practice, right? And you can hit me up on Instagram, and that is at Inked Goddess Creations. I would love to know what you thought of this episode, if it helped you. And then, of course, for all of your magical supplies and even subscription box, all that kind of good stuff, you can go to inkedgoddesscreations.com and see what we have there. I don't know if the new website will be up by the time this airs. Not by the time this airs, but if you're a few days after listening, like if you're listening to this a few days after it originally aired, I'm sure the website might be different. We're really working hard on it for a huge update, and it's so gorgeous, and I can't wait for you all to see it. So again, thank you, and I will see you all soon. Bye.